Hey, I'm ChristopherJMUA and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be reviewing the Natasha Denona Retro Palette. This palette looks so beautiful, and if it's anything like the previous Natasha Denona palettes that we've gotten for $65, then it's going to be a pretty amazing palette. So I'm ready to see if it's going to be, ready to see what kind of look we create, and if it's going to turn out good. I'm also very curious to see the swatches of this palette because all of the pictures look very beautiful, and I want to see if the swatches look the same, because I'm not sure. So if you'd like to know those same things, and you'd like to know all there is to know about the Natasha Denona Retro Palette, then stay exactly where you are, keep doing exactly what you're doing, and keep on watching. Here's the packaging for the palette. It's a very soft, muted rose pastel pink, if you will. Then on the back, it shows all 15 shades, the name of the shades themselves, and where they're laid in the palette, as well as an ingredient list on the other side. And let's open the box and see what the actual palette looks like. This is my first time seeing the palette in person, so I'm super stoked. I got mine from Sephora. The component is a typical Natasha Denona palette component. We have her name and the name of the palette on the front as per usual. Then on the back we have all these little holes so that you can poke out every shade from the palette and use it in your own magnetic palette, or even just change the order of the pan. And now let's see what the palette itself looks like. Okay, very muted, very rosy, very dusty rosy. Looks great for fall. Now I'm gonna go ahead and zoom you guys in so we can get started on swatching. The first shade is the shade Glitz. Andy. Jude. Maud. Ooh, she's feeling a little dusty. Vivian. Groove. Apart. Psychedelic. Go-Go. Patty. Swing. Nude Mauve. How creative. Rebellion. Hello. And Amara. And there's all the swatches from the Natasha Denona Retro Palette. As always, I will leave you guys photos of the swatches, one with flash here, and one without flash here. And here's a video close-up so you guys can see every single shade close-up. I have started, like normal, with priming my eyes with my P. Louise base in the shade Rumor 02. And funny thing with this palette, when you look at it, or when I look at it, and I look at all the shades, and then I look at the color that's around the palette, it feels like if you were to take all these shades out of here, crush them, and mix them and make one shade, this would be the shade. I don't know that, but that's what it looks like. Good job on the color coding with the marketing. Natasha Denona marketing team, I guess? I don't know. So you know how whenever I started my channel, I was all the time doing cut creases, and it was like just over and over. Cut crease after cut crease after cut crease. Well, I stopped doing that because I felt like it was very excessive. So I switched to just kind of normal, easily replicatable kind of look. So today, I think I want to do a cut crease. It's been a while. Why not, you know? So that means we're going to need to build up a lot of depth and drama in the crease first before we cut it. So I'm going to begin with using this Jeffree Star X Morphe JS6 brush. It's sort of like a Morphe M433 where it's wide and compacted. And I'm going to begin with the shade Groove. That's the deepest shade that I can find in the palette that's matte. And I'm going to use that to go ahead and build up the depth in the crease. And you know, you can also do this same method with a brush that's more compacted. Something like this Morphe E36 brush or this Luxie Mini Flat Angled brush. So that you can get really detailed and make just a really sharp line where you want it to fall. Then you can go in with a brush like this and blend it out. I just like to sort of do things two birds, one stone kind of scenarios. Stuff that can expedite processes, if you will. So I'm just going to fill the outer crease, stop about halfway in, And that'll still leave me room to go in with my second color to make my two-tone cut crease. You guys know the drill. If you're new here and you don't, that's the drill, just so you know. And then, just for shaping things, gonna pull the outer corner up into a wing shape just to give it a little bit of length. And that's why I take my eyeshadow base all the way like out here, because I don't know how big I'm gonna make my look in the beginning. I don't know if it's gonna go all the way out here, or if I'm gonna keep it rounded, or if I'm even gonna add the wing shape most of the time. So if I just have eyeshadow base everywhere, I don't have to worry. This is like the perfect blackberry shade, or like raspberry shade. It's got the tiniest bit of red in it to make it pull this deep, rich, grapey raspberry kind of color. It's really, really pretty. But now I'm gonna soften the inner portion of the crease using the Morphe M456 brush and the shade Nude Mauve. And since I'm just trying to add some softness, I'm gonna put it right in the inner portion of the crease, tie it in to the dark purpley color. Then I'm gonna grab this pointed, fluffy, diffused blender brush from Morphe and just use circular motions to blend out the inner portion of the crease. This is kind of the same method I use just about all the time for my two-tone creases. And I'm also doing the same thing on the outer edge of the dark purple, just on the top part of it. That way it'll blend up into the brow bone instead of just being this harsh line. Guys, these Natasha Denona shadows blow my mind every single time we review them. I always know they're gonna be good because they have been good, but every time I run into this soft, beautiful, gorgeous blend with these shadows, it's just so satisfying to see it blend out and turn into just airbrush. Now that I've got this really gorgeous soft blend, I'm gonna use this Morphe M431 pointed crease brush, really is what it's meant for. Kind of like what I was describing to use this brush for earlier. But I'm gonna go into the shade Mod, which is like a really soft pinky white. Oh no, that is a pink. That's more a pink than a white. Ooh, oh well, I'm gonna use it anyway. And I'm just gonna put it right on the inner corner of the crease. That way, now that all of the blending is done of the darker shade, I can just lighten it up a little bit right in that inner corner and then blend it out again. That way, it's not a super obvious, like white, but it still gives a little bit more dimension than just the two shade. Okay, like that. Then take the fluffy clean brush and just blend out the edges. And there we go. See, it's nothing crazy, but it still does a little something for it. It changes it just enough to give it a little something extra. And we're all about extra on this channel. Now I think I'm feeling adequately dramatic, so I'm gonna go ahead and go off camera with my P. Louise base in the shade Rumor 02 again, and my Sigma E62 cut crease brush, and cut my crease, and I'll be right back. Crease is now cut, and honestly at this point, I feel like I could just take this Mod shade, the pinky white, put that all over the lid and be done, and this would be a gorgeous look. Maybe a big thick black liner or a dark purple liner. Either way, it would be really pretty, but we're gonna move on to shimmer. You know we need to try as many shades as possible. So I'm gonna use the shade Glitz. I guess I'm gonna try with this Wet n Wild flat brush first, but I really don't think it's gonna work or stick. But I'm gonna try it anyway, just for the sake of trying. But you know how sometimes there are those shades in a pan that you look at it and you see how chunky it looks, and you can just tell it's not gonna pick up with a flat brush? I feel like this is one of those shades. But we're gonna try it anyway, just to see. Yeah, it did pick up a little bit, but it picked up so little, it just added a little bit of shininess. So I'm gonna go ahead and use my ring finger and just press it onto the cut crease part of the look. Look at that shade. Oh my goodness. And I'm purposely avoiding the outer edge and the inner corner because I'm gonna use two other shades there. And now, just to get a clean edge, I'm gonna use the same brush still. Barely pick up what I can with the brush in the shade. And then with the little bit that I've picked up, try to make a clean edge. Oh good, it's working. It's gonna take forever, but it's working. Next I'm gonna use this teeny tiny flat brush, itty bitty baby brush, and go into the shade Swing. That is the perfect dark purple to put right on this outer edge. And it should melt in this beautiful shimmer on the lid into the beautiful matte in the crease. Just gonna make sure I get the outer portion of the lid covered all the way and then form sort of a V shape as I move inward. Hello depth, hello drama. And now for the finishing touches, I'm gonna use this Real Techniques 040 brush from the Neon collection that just launched. And I'm gonna go into the shade Psychedelic. This might be another one of those shades that just doesn't pick up with a brush. Yeah, no, not really. But for continuity's sake, I'm still gonna stick with it and I'm just gonna pack it on to the inner corner and the brow bone. If it will do that, we're gonna find out. It did a little bit, but it's just adding some of the shine. Again though, this is one of those really chunky, kind of foily sort of shadows. Yeah, again, not working. But that's still okay, because now I'm gonna take my sponge tip applicator and now try to build it up on the inner corner. Yeah, okay, that's how that's supposed to work. Oh, yes, ma'am. It's that blue reflect for me, though. Oh, that's so good. Now, for brow bone highlight, I was going to use that same shimmer shade, but now I'm going to take this Morphe flat brush. It's flat and kind of fanned out a little bit, so I think I can get more done quickly. And I'm going to use the shade Vivian, and she's going to be my brow bone highlight. It's just barely a satin shade. I mean, there's hardly any reflect in this at all, but it looks really soft, so I'm hoping it'll be a good brow bone highlight for this look. Oh wow, okay, well that one just looks satin in the pan, not on the eye. There is no satin anything to it on the eye, it just looks like a shadow, like a powder shadow. But good news, it does make a great brow bone highlight. Okay, I've gotten the majority of the upper portion of the look done. So now, really all I've got to do is finish off the lower lash line. So I'm going to go ahead and go off camera, clean everything up, get all my face makeup done. Then I'll be back so we can finish everything up and I can give my final thoughts on the Natasha Denona Retro Eyeshadow Palette. So I'll be right back. With the majority of the look now completed, let's go ahead and finish off the lower lash line. And for this look, since I've gone kinda monochromatic, no, not kind of, I've gone all the way monochromatic. I'm going to continue with that and I'm going to use the same colors that I used in the crease and pull them down onto the lower lash line. P.S. If you guys want to know the perfect blush to pair with this palette, it's the Cover FX Monochromatic Blush Duo in the shade Sweet Mulberry. It is the exact same color as this Groove shade, all blended out with something softer. It's the same kind of tone. It's gorgeous. It matches perfectly. Granted, I went a little heavy-handed on it, but it still matches beautifully. So I'm going to take this Morphe X Jeffree Star JS6 that I used in Groove earlier, go ahead and go back into Groove, and just pull that shade from the outer edge of the upper crease to the lower lash line. And I'm going to do the same thing as what I did in the crease and just pull it through about halfway. Oh wow, oops. I didn't mean to bring it quite that low, but I did. Now I'm just connecting it to this outer wing shape, just to make sure we've got all of the continuity. Oh, I love that! Guys, I think I've got a purple problem. I think I'm just addicted to purples and mauves. Although it's kind of hard to get away from purple with this palette. Next I'm going to use the same M431 that I used earlier in Mod, and go back into Mod, and put that on the inner portion of the lower lash line, very carefully. Since this is such a soft shade, I really want to build it up, make it super intense, because it's gonna probably disappear once I start blending anyway. And now, using the same Morphe M456 brush that I used earlier in Nude Mauve, I'm gonna just take the brush without any nude pigment on it and blend the edge between the light pink and the purple. That is just perfection! However, I am gonna continue to add this nude shade right along the lower edge of the shadow all the way back. It just makes it look soft, sort of takes away a lot of that hard line, gives it a nice blended edge. Oh yay! Okay, so give me like 3 seconds. I'm gonna go ahead and go off camera and apply my Christian Louboutin mascara, and I will be right back to give my final thoughts. Everything has now come together to finish our very first look using the Natasha Denona Retro Eyeshadow Palette. So what do you guys think? Did we get true Natasha Denona quality? Yeah, we definitely did. The mattes were super soft and blendable. The shimmers I used were a little chunky. They didn't really go with a flat brush. That is sort of disappointing, but then again, that is sort of the name of the game whenever you get with those chunky metallic shadows. If you want real, pigmented, metallic, foily payoff, sometimes the formula just has to work like that. And you know, for the most part, I really don't mind that. I can use my finger and foam tip applicators to get the job done. For my personal preference, I do enjoy being able to use just a rounded flat brush to be able to pack on shadow, especially around a sharp line with a cut crease. It's so much easier to maintain that sharp line if you have a brush that can make a sharp line. But aside from that, the palette was literal perfection. Now, do I think you can create a look that looks just like this for less than $65? Absolutely. You don't have to spend even $10 to get a look that looks like this, but when it comes to the way that the formula works and how you use it, that's where I'm definitely going to spring for a higher priced palette versus a more affordable palette. The proof is in the pudding, as they say. So for sure, based on quality and performance, the Natasha Denona Retro palette is a definite recommend from me here on my channel. But just know that 65 bucks is kinda steep for an eyeshadow palette, and you absolutely do not have to spend that much on an eyeshadow palette to achieve great results. Just know that beforehand. But if you are a purple lover like I am, if you're into your mauves, your purples, your pinks, all of your indigo violet side of the rainbow tones, you're gonna love this palette. Now, if you want more variety than that, you're not going to get it out of this palette. So for me personally and my taste in colors and tones, this palette is phenomenal and I love it. So I'm a little biased. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up just to let me know you enjoyed it. It does help my channel out a little bit just by giving me an idea of what kind of content you guys enjoy. If you'd like to see more reviews like this one, don't forget to hit subscribe and hit the little notification bell right beside subscribe so that you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. Also, if you like this look and you want to see more looks like them, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and TikTok. My username is the same for everything. It's just ChristopherJMUA. And if you gain nothing out of this video, if you gain nothing out of any of my videos, then please at least gain this. And that is to always remember and to never forget that you are absolutely beautiful. And I love you guys. Bye.